A former casino waiter just revealed something that could change how you gamble forever. For 5 years, he watched management use specific tactics to steer players away from certain slot machines. And what he discovered about where casinos don't want you spending your time is going to shock you. Machine number 1. Wheel of Fortune Quarter. Classic, the 3-reel version. You've probably walked right past it without noticing. That's exactly what casinos want. During my second year working the floor, I started noticing something strange about these older Wheel of Fortune machines, the mechanical-style 3-reel versions tucked into corners near the restrooms or behind support columns. Players would sit down, and within an hour, a floor supervisor would casually appear offering free drink tickets or meal comps for the buffet. Oh, the pitch was always the same. Why don't you try one of our newer video slot machines while you eat? Something more exciting. I must have watched this happen 24 times before I understood what was actually happening. These older quarter classic machines have a base game RTP between 92 and 94%, according to the documentation I glimpsed during inventory updates. That's significantly higher than most modern video slots. The programming is simpler, which means more frequent small wins that keep your bankroll alive longer. For casinos, that's a problem. They make less profit per hour when you're hitting consistent small payouts instead of chasing big bonus features. Management trained us specifically to redirect players from these machines. The script was subtle, mention how much more exciting the newer games are, how the video versions have better bonus rounds, anything to get people moving toward lower RTP options. But if you think casinos hide that one, wait until you see where they put machine number 2. Machine number 2, Double Diamond, the classic 3-reel game with a single payline option. I watched a pit boss place an out-of-order sign on a perfectly functioning Double Diamond machine during a busy Saturday night. The machine was working fine that afternoon. I'd served drinks to a player who'd been steadily winning small amounts for 3 hours, and management noticed. By evening rush, that yellow maintenance tag appeared, and suddenly, the machine was unavailable. This happened more than once. Double Diamond machines run about 95% RTP on quarter denomination with low volatility, meaning steadier, more predictable play. The simplicity is what casinos hate most. Just one payline, no complex bonus structures, no way to upsell players to higher denominations. These games don't create the near-miss excitement that keeps people pumping in credits. I remember overhearing the slot director tell a technician that Double Diamond repairs were low priority, unless the machine was completely dead. If it limped along intermittently, that was fine, fewer people playing it. The psychological element matters here too. Without flashing bonus screens and multi-level features, players maintain clearer awareness of their spending. That awareness is terrible for casino profit margins, and if you think those classic games are the only ones casinos try to hide, you'd be wrong. Machine number 3 tells a completely different story about how management manipulates player options without you ever realizing it. Machine number 3, Jacks or Better Video Poker, specifically the full-pay 9-6 version. That means 9 coins for a full house, 6 for a flush. During my time on the floor, I watched the casino systematically replace these machines with 8-5 and 7-5 versions over the course of 18 months. They didn't announce it. They didn't post signs. The machines just quietly disappeared during overnight maintenance shifts and returned looking identical but with different pay tables. I discovered this by accident when a regular player named Margaret asked me why her usual machine was paying less for full houses. She'd been playing the same game for 3 years and noticed immediately. When I checked with a technician I'd become friendly with, but he confirmed that management had issued directives to swap out high-pay video poker machines during routine floor updates. The full-pay Jacks or Better has an RTP of 99.54% with perfect strategy. That's nearly even with the house. Even players using mediocre strategy still achieve 97 to 98% return. Casinos can't sustain profit on those numbers, so they slowly eliminate the option. Here's how you verify if you've found a legitimate full-pay version. Check the pay table displayed on screen. A true 9-6 machine pays 9 credits per coin bet for a full house and 6 credits for a flush on a single coin wager. Anything less, 8-5 or 7-5, drops the RTP significantly. Management relied on players not checking these details. And we were specifically instructed to tell anyone who asked that all video poker machines are basically the same, just different themes. That was an outright lie. Margaret eventually stopped coming to our casino after her favorite machine disappeared. She told me she'd found a casino 40 miles away that still had the full-pay versions, but even those were being moved to a remote corner of the floor near the parking garage entrance. The casino wanted her to think she was being inconvenienced by bad luck with machine placement, not deliberate strategy. Now, you might think video poker is the only advantage play option they hide, but machine number 4 tells a different story about how casinos make even the simplest games nearly impossible to find. Machine number 4, Blazing Sevens, the classic version with just sevens and bars on 3 reels. When I started working at the casino, we had an entire row of 8 Blazing Sevens machines positioned prominently near the main entrance. By my 3rd year, they'd been relocated twice, first to a side aisle near the sportsbook, then finally to a back corridor next to the employee break room hallway where virtually no customer traffic existed. I asked a floor manager during a shift meeting why we kept moving machines that seemed popular enough. His response was carefully worded, "We're optimizing floor space for higher yield inventory." That phrase, higher yield inventory, meant games that made the casino more money per square foot. And Blazing Sevens runs 95 to 96% RTP on quarter denomination with medium volatility and reasonable hit frequency. But the real problem for casinos is that the game is too boring by modern standards. No bonus rounds, no hold and spin features, no progressive jackpots. Players maintain complete awareness of their spending because there's nothing to distract them from the basic math of wins and losses. I watched servers, including myself, get coached on how to respond when players specifically requested simple machines. We were told to guide them toward games with more exciting features, which always meant lower RTP wrapped in flashy graphics. One weekend, a customer asked me directly where the Blazing Sevens machines had gone. I knew exactly where they were, hidden in that back hallway. But I'd been instructed to say we were updating our floor layout, and those machines might be temporarily unavailable. The truth was, they'd been deliberately buried where almost no one would find them. And speaking of games casinos deliberately make hard to find, machine number 5 practically disappeared from casino floors entirely. And the reason why reveals something disturbing about how modern casinos operate. Machine number 5, Triple Red Hot 777, the original high volatility 3-reel version. I came in for a Tuesday morning shift and discovered an entire bank of 6 Triple Red Hot machines had vanished overnight. In their place stood a row of brand new video slots with animated graphics and multi-level bonus features. When I asked the slot technician what happened, he just shrugged and said management decided to refresh that section of the floor. But I'd served drinks in that area for 3 years, and those Triple Red Hot machines were consistently occupied. Players loved them specifically because the gameplay was straightforward. No hidden mechanics, no complicated bonus triggers. The RTP sits around 94 to 95%, and while the game is volatile, you know exactly what you're getting. Yet you either hit combinations and win, or you don't, and move on. Both scenarios were problems for casino profitability. When players hit, they'd often cash out and leave rather than reinvesting wins into more play. When they lost, they'd quit faster because there was no bonus feature to chase, no reason to keep feeding credits hoping to trigger some special round. The casino's entire business model depends on time on device, keeping you in that seat as long as possible. These simple, high-volatility games undermined that strategy completely. I remember during one floor meeting, the casino host director presented data showing that average player sessions on classic 3-reel games were 40% shorter than sessions on modern video slots. She framed this as a problem that needed solving through strategic machine replacement. And over the following 6 months, I watched nearly every simple 3-reel game get swapped out during what management called routine floor refreshes. We were given scripts about how outdated games were being upgraded for your enjoyment, but the real motivation was extending play sessions. A high-value player I'd served regularly for 2 years, a retired engineer named Frank, specifically asked me one evening where all the Triple Red Hot machines had gone. He said he appreciated games where he could calculate odds in his head, where there weren't 12 different bonus possibilities obscuring the actual math. I told him honestly that management had removed them, and his response stayed with me. He said that's exactly why I liked them. The casino couldn't trick me with complicated features. He stopped visiting our property after that conversation. I later heard from another server that Frank had started driving to a smaller tribal casino 90 miles away that still kept classic three-reel games on their floor. Now, machine number 6 is especially interesting because casinos didn't remove these entirely. They tried a much more subtle tactic that most players never noticed. Before I tell you about this next machine, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and let me know in the comments. Have you ever noticed a casino trying to steer you away from a particular game? Machine number 6. 10 times pay, the three-reel multiplier game where the 10x symbol multiplies any win by 10. These machines still exist in most casinos, but finding them requires knowing exactly where to look. During my 4th year, I started paying attention to placement patterns after a conversation with a veteran slot attendant. She mentioned that certain machines got positioned in what she called terminal locations, spots where foot traffic was minimal and visibility was deliberately obscured. 10 times pay machines were prime examples. I'd find them tucked behind structural columns, placed in corners near emergency exits, or positioned in sections of the floor where the ceiling lighting was notably dimmer. The game itself runs about 95% RTP with a transparent multiplier mechanic that players can easily understand. That transparency is precisely what made these machines problematic for casino operations. When players can quickly calculate expected value and understand the simple math behind multipliers, they make more conservative betting decisions. They recognize that chasing the 10x symbol isn't worth depleting their bankroll, so they play lower denominations and manage their money more carefully. I watched floor supervisors train new employees on comp strategies specifically designed to move players away from these machines. The approach was never direct. A supervisor would approach someone playing 10 times pay and offer them free buffet tickets or show passes, and then casually suggest they try the new games near the main casino entrance while they took a break. The new games were always positioned in premium floor locations with perfect lighting, comfortable seating, and easy access to beverage service, everything designed to maximize comfort and extend play sessions. Meanwhile, the 10 times pay machines remained in their isolated corners. I even found a forum post from a former pit boss at a different casino who admitted that his property deliberately placed transparent mechanic games in low visibility areas. He called it strategic inventory positioning, a corporate phrase that meant hiding player-friendly options where most people wouldn't find them. The casino wasn't removing these machines entirely because that might raise questions with gaming regulators, but they definitely weren't making them easy to locate either. And if you think that's strategic, wait until you hear about machine number 7, because this one exposed the entire system of how casinos manipulate player options while maintaining plausible deniability about fairness. Machine number 7. Double-double bonus poker, specifically the full-pay 10-7 version. This discovery happened during my final year on the floor, and it completely changed how I understood casino operations. I was wiping down a bank of video poker machines in a section near the high-limit room when I noticed a player I'd never seen before methodically checking pay tables on every single machine. He'd look at the screen for maybe 10 seconds, shake his head, then move to the next one. After watching him do this for 20 minutes across 40 machines, I asked if he needed help finding something specific. He told me he was looking for 10-7 double-double bonus, and he'd driven 3 hours because this casino's website claimed to offer full-pay video poker. Yet the way he said it made it clear he knew exactly what he was searching for, and that it wasn't going to be easy to find. I didn't understand the significance then, but over the next few weeks, I started paying attention to video poker pay tables during slow shifts. What I discovered was systematic. The casino had exactly 4 10-7 double-double bonus machines on the entire floor. 4 machines out of roughly 200 video poker units. They were positioned in the most isolated corner of the property, past the sportsbook, beyond the racebook, in a dimly lit section near the loading dock access corridor that most customers never even knew existed. When I asked that regular player named David about it later, during one of his quarterly visits, Yet he explained that 10-7 double-double bonus has an RTP of 100.07% with perfect strategy. That number didn't make sense to me at first. I asked how a casino could offer a game where players had a mathematical edge. David said that's exactly why there were only 4 machines hidden in the worst location possible, and why management comped him so aggressively every time he played, trying to get him onto other games where the house had its normal advantage. 3 months before I left that job, I was restocking napkins in the server station when I saw a printed memo left on the counter marked for Slot Operations Management. The header read, "Optimizing Video Poker Inventory Performance Metrics." I only glanced at it for maybe 30 seconds before a supervisor came back and retrieved it, but that brief look was enough. The document outlined a systematic plan to reduce what it called advantage play variance across all video poker denominations. It specifically mentioned transitioning 10-7 double-double bonus units to 9-6 variants during scheduled maintenance cycles, which would drop the RTP from that player-favorable 100.07% down to 98.98%. The memo justified this by explaining that advantage players like David were being subsidized by recreational players who didn't know optimal strategy, but that the casino needed to protect overall yield metrics by limiting exposure to full-pay tables. What struck me wasn't that casinos wanted to reduce high RTP games. That made obvious business sense. But the calculated methodology of doing it invisibly through routine maintenance that players would never notice unless they obsessively checked pay tables before every session. I watched one of those 4 machines get serviced 2 weeks after I saw that memo. When it came back online, the pay table had changed from 10-7 to 9-6, and I never saw David visit our property again after that quarter. Now we're getting to the final machine on this list, and this one represents why casinos are completely redesigning their floors and removing an entire category of games that gave players any reasonable chance of breaking even. Everything I've described so far, the hidden placements, the strategic removals, the quiet downgrades, all of it was building toward what machine number 8 reveals about where the industry is heading and why former employees like me felt genuinely uncomfortable watching it happen to loyal customers who trusted they were being treated fairly. Machine number 8, Bonus Poker Deluxe, the full-pay 8.5 version. I discovered exactly how much casinos hated this game during a staff meeting I wasn't supposed to attend. It was a Tuesday morning, right before the floor opened, and I'd arrived early to cover for a sick coworker. The slot director was presenting to about 15 managers and supervisors, and nobody noticed me restocking coffee supplies in the back corner of the conference room. She had spreadsheets projected on the wall showing something called yield analysis per square foot across different machine categories. I watched her circle one specific data point in red marker and say, "We have a bonus poker deluxe problem that's costing us approximately $42,000 monthly in lost revenue opportunity." And the room went completely silent as she explained that the 8.5 full-pay version had an RTP of 99.64%, and that the simplified strategy, she specifically used that phrase, made it far too easy for average players to achieve near-optimal results without studying complex charts or paying for strategy cards. She pulled up historical data showing that players on Bonus Poker Deluxe maintained their bankrolls an average of 3.7 hours, compared to 1.9 hours on comparable video poker variants with more complicated pay structures and lower returns. Then she said something that made my stomach turn. "We need to transition these units out over the next fiscal quarter and replace them with feature-enhanced alternatives that improve time on device metrics while maintaining visual similarity to preserve player comfort during the changeover." I watched this happen in real time over the following 6 months. The casino had 23 Bonus Poker Deluxe machines when that meeting occurred. By the time I left 14 months later, there were 3, and those 3 had been relocated to a service corridor near the employee parking garage that required walking through 2 sets of unmarked doors most guests didn't even know existed. The replacement machines looked almost identical, same manufacturer, similar cabinet design, but the pay tables had been quietly downgraded and new bonus features added that sounded exciting, but actually decreased overall returns. I'll never forget watching a regular player named Robert come in one Tuesday looking for his machine, the same Bonus Poker Deluxe unit he'd played every week for the 4 years I'd worked there. It had been removed 3 days earlier, during what management called routine floor optimization. A floor supervisor I'd trained with approached Robert and guided him to one of the new replacement units, explaining that we'd upgraded to newer models with exciting bonus opportunities. I served Robert his usual coffee and watched him play for 90 minutes. He'd normally last 3 or 4 hours on his $200 budget. That morning, he was finished in under 90 minutes. And the confused look on his face when he cashed out his last $6 told me he knew something had changed but couldn't quite identify what. He never came back after that day. 3 other servers mentioned noticing the same pattern with their regular video poker players, people who'd visited weekly for years suddenly disappearing after their preferred machines were replaced with versions that looked similar but played completely different. The pattern wasn't isolated to our property. I started checking online forums where advantage players and video poker enthusiasts discussed casino conditions, and I found dozens of reports from across the country describing identical situations. Full pay bonus poker. Deluxe units systematically vanishing during floor refreshes and remodels, and always replaced with lower-paying variants that casual players wouldn't distinguish from the originals without carefully studying pay tables. This wasn't individual casinos making independent decisions. This was a coordinated industry-wide shift toward eliminating any game that gave players a genuinely fair chance. What made it especially insidious was how casinos maintained plausible deniability by keeping a handful of the good machines in impossibly remote locations, just enough to technically claim they still offered full-pay options if anyone complained to gaming regulators, while ensuring that 98% of players would never find them. So now you know which 8 machines casinos are actively hiding or removing from their floors. Let me recap what you're looking for. Machine number 1, Wheel of Fortune Quarter Classic. If the 3-reel version runs 92 to 94% RTP, and you'll find it tucked in corners near restrooms or support columns. Machine number 2, Double Diamond, offers 95% returns on quarters with that single payline simplicity casinos can't profit from. Machine number 3, Jacks or Better 9-6 Full Pay Video Poker gives you 99.54% RTP if you can verify those 9 coins for full house and 6 for flush payouts on the screen. Machine number 4, Blazing Sevens in its classic form, delivers 95 to 96% returns in back hallways where management hopes you won't wander. Machine number 5, Triple Red Hot 777, that high volatility 3-reel game running 94 to 95%. That's been systematically removed from properties nationwide. Machine number 6, 10 times pay with its transparent multiplier mechanic, positioned behind columns and in dim corners at roughly 95% RTP. Machine number 7, Double Bonus Poker in the 10-7 full pay version, offering that player-favorable 100.07% return in the most isolated locations imaginable. And machine number 8, Bonus Poker Deluxe 8-5 full pay at 99.64%. The game casinos are replacing faster than any other because average players can actually achieve optimal results without advanced strategy knowledge. The common thread connecting all 8 is they offer some combination of transparency, of fairness, and reasonable return that doesn't maximize casino profit per player hour. When you visit a casino, look in low traffic areas, older sections near exits, corridors by restrooms, anywhere management thinks you won't naturally explore. On video poker machines, always check the pay table before playing your first credit. Verify the specific payouts for full houses and flushes because that's where casinos make their downgrades. On 3-reel slots, check the denomination and reel configuration because newer-looking cabinets sometimes house the same old games with worse math. Watch for signs that machines are being upgraded or replaced, because that usually means something player-friendly is disappearing. Understanding why casinos hide these specific games gives you an information advantage most gamblers never acquire. I need to be realistic with you. Even these player-friendly machines still carry a house edge except for that one full-pay double bonus variant, and that requires perfect strategy most players won't execute consistently. This isn't about guaranteed wins or beating the casino long-term. This is about maximizing entertainment value per dollar spent and giving yourself the fairest chance possible when you choose to gamble. Focus on how long your bankroll lasts and how much enjoyment you get per session, not on chasing losses or expecting to profit. The smart player approach means recognizing you're paying for entertainment and choosing games where that entertainment cost is minimized through better mathematics and transparent mechanics. There's nothing wrong with enjoying casino gaming. I spent 5 years watching thousands of people have genuine fun on slot machines and video poker. But you deserve to know which games give you a fair shot and which games are deliberately designed to extract maximum profit through psychological manipulation and complex features that obscure terrible odds. Casinos are businesses built to generate profit, and they use sophisticated strategies you'd never notice unless you spent years watching from the inside like I did. Now you have information they never wanted you to access. The players I watched who stuck to simpler, older machines with straightforward mechanics lasted longer and seemed to genuinely enjoy their experience more than people hypnotized by flashing bonus screens and multi-level features on modern video slots. And those players on the new games looked stressed, constantly chasing bonus triggers, depleting their money faster while convincing themselves the next spin would be different. I felt genuinely guilty watching loyal customers get quietly steered toward worse odds through strategic machine placement and removal, friendly suggestions from well-meaning staff following corporate scripts, and floor redesigns that eliminated their favorite games overnight without explanation. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe, because casinos definitely don't want this knowledge spreading to more players who might start asking uncomfortable questions about pay table changes and machine locations. Let me know in the comments whether you've played any of these 8 machines and what your experience was. Because I'm genuinely curious if other properties are using the same tactics I witnessed. I have more insider observations about casino strategies I'll be sharing, things about comp systems and player tracking that might surprise you. Knowledge is your best defense against casino manipulation. You're now armed with information that took me 5 years of careful observation to piece together. Next time you visit a casino, you'll know exactly what to look for and where management doesn't want you spending your time. Good luck out there, and remember, play smart, not just hard.